lots of people only want to sell to consumers. You know, lots of the apps are very consumer focused. But I think you're right. The bigger untapped market is medium and large companies. So I just saw, if anyone's used Quick or Bambuza or Ustream, you know, you can film with your mobile and it will send it up to the cloud. And that's great. And those companies are sort of focused on consumers. A new company's come out called Degero, I think, and they sell just to broadcasters, so to Sky, to Fox, to CNN. And their pitch is, give your journalists this app on your iPhone and it will be broadcast quality and amazing and all backed up. I think similarly, if you start going to, maybe not banks because they're very heavily regulated, but other large companies and said, you know, what if every...
I think that's a field for big players, really big software players, because business to business, first of all, requires a lot of resources. You need to have a powerful sales team, very powerful sales team. You need to have a powerful support, and that means you need to be quite big to afford this, also to have the capital. You saw SAP is in this business for many years and they probably exceed 1 billion this year. It's not a lot, 1 billion from mobile, if we speak about SAP. So yes, it's a future potential market.
Which I don't know if any of you know, it's kind of like podcasting but designed for radio broadcast, and they were a very small team, I think of 5 people, and they managed to sell services into the BBC, the state broadcaster in the UK. Now they were lucky in the sense that they showed a demo to someone who liked it, who showed the demo to their boss, who showed it to their boss, and it got bought in. But I don't think you need necessarily a huge team and huge sales team in order to get into these companies, especially if they're local companies. If no one's making good localized products, I think it is perfectly possible for a small team to meet with someone from a very big company and say, look, this is what we're proposing to do. You know, do you want to trial us? And then if we trial, you know, we can become a small supplier. You know, so Telefonica is a big global company, and we have lots of small suppliers. It's not always SAP or HP or IBM. Lots of them are small local companies. Now, if you need 10 big companies to make yourself profitable, yeah, that's probably going to be very hard, and that's when you start needing a big sales team and a big support team. But you can start small. It won't be easy, I'll guarantee you that, but you will be able to find medium and even very large companies who are willing to take a bet on smaller suppliers. I don't know what the situation is with the government here, but in the UK there's a mandate which says you have to buy a certain percentage of services from small and medium companies. So that can also be a nice way in. But yeah, if you want to grow, if you want to make real money, yes, you are probably going to need a big team and a big sales team, but it's not impossible to get your foot in the door.
Yeah, we have a company from Romania that also sells to broadcasters in the UK, so, and it's not a big company, but even as you said, Telefonica, who was your supplier for SMS Center solution? Who was your supplier for billing solution? And they were the money. I don't think they were the so small supplier, because it's the same here. Local mobile operators have some small companies that provide different tasks for them, but the level of revenue is far below the big money that they are spending on the software.
Can you provide some insights about the platform where you want to launch an app? Where, in your opinion, you should launch it first, on which platform? Because some say that if you launch it on iOS, it's more likely that you will have revenue, or if you launch it on Android, probably you will have more users to try your app, because on Android they are more likely to try new apps and so on. On which such platform you will launch the app first?
Well, who's your target?
Well, let's say regular users.
No. Who's your target? Romanians, worldwide, Chinese? Who's your target?
Well, I don't think that we can talk about Romania.
Okay. So you want to go worldwide?
Yes.
And you do the app in how many languages?
Well, let's say first in English. Because
Okay, so it's not worldwide. So your target is US, Canada, UK, Australia?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, so now we know who's your target.
Okay.
I'll split more on one platform or the other. That's one question you can ask. The second, again from a personal experience, it's what's your development cost for that project? If you have a better deal for any of the other two platforms, you should go for the better deal, because you need to test your product. You don't know if your product is really a big hit. So the cheapest you can launch it, the best for it. If it's cheaper to develop for Android in US, even Android is not still a very big market share, you should go for it with no hesitation. So your approach depends a lot on what money do you have, what's your target, what are your plans, can you afford to advertise your product or not? Because US is much more expensive, advertise there. You can buy cheaper in Australia or even in Canada or even in UK, and I think Terence can confirm. So there are different factors. Maybe you should go for Spanish. I would go for Spanish because you have more people that are speaking Spanish than English, and it's far cheaper to buy advertising in Latam, on Spain also. So
but probably in the end the app will be cross-platform, like having it on iOS, on Windows. But
well, as I said, you have to leverage your success. If you want to have a hit, you start with one platform, but you have to be ready to get on the other platforms, because if people start speaking about your app, it's a pity to lose the ones who cannot install it. Yeah. It will be frustrating.
Yeah.
This content is not available in your country. Now that's understandable. You know, if you want to start small, you don't have the money to run enough, you know, EC2 instances or spin up enough Heroku dynos. Fine, start small. But what you absolutely must do is capture the information of every single visitor to your website or to your advert or to your landing page. If you've got a big web page and it says, you know, to other demands.
Also, you can consider what I said about distribution versus collection for Spanish speakers.
Revenues you want to come in. So, you know, if you're doing an app in South Africa, say, where, you know, people aren't prepared to pay much more than the equivalent of €1 for a service, you know, whereas in London it's a slightly richer city, and so, oh, it's €5. Okay, that's great. So you might also want to think about, do I want to target somewhere where the people are going to be rich enough to sort of help lift me up, or, you know, because we're quite a low-cost app, are we going to target perhaps poorer countries? You know, if we target India, it's a big market, but, you know, they don't have a lot.
The first one is, well, on your slide there you have iOS, Android, Windows. Is there room for something else? Should we bother for, you know, there's still room there. And the second question, that's the first question. The second question, mainly for Terence, right? I think you have, you showed us the orange, yeah, exactly. You had on your previous talk, you had a slide with BlackBerries. I'm pretty sure half of them, if not more, have better performance than. Maybe you can tell us more about, you know, where I know Firefox OS is mainly targeting, you know, second to third world countries and such. Maybe you can tell us a bit more why we should even consider Firefox OS when we decided we want to go native, right? If you want to go.
That's if we speak generally. We speak about native apps. So far, you don't have a fourth platform with enough distribution, with enough potential clients to go for it. Even if you, let's say, would like to address a specific market like China, which are separate from Google Play, I don't think you can go there from Romania, honestly. I mean, we tried some 10 years ago, and as Terence said, what we were selling here at €1, there was sold at 5 cents. And even they were 50 times more than us, we didn't make a business case to find something. Okay, so as a reply, if we speak native apps, I don't see a fourth platform now. In the future, yes, I believe in the future we'll see a fourth platform. Because there are some big manufacturers like Samsung, which at some point will consider could be an opportunity for them to build own platform like Apple did. So that could be the main reason.
Sorry, just a second. I know they're actually using Tizen on their watches, so it could be, right, an option to go away from.
Tizen, it's more than a 2-year project, and they just announced the first smartphone on Tizen. It's true with Bada in some markets, a lot of issues, and
Than God. And today, Nokia, do you remember? Does anyone remember Nokia? Yeah, so these three will fall. I have absolutely no doubt. It's not going to be next year, and it probably won't be to Tizen, but something's going to come along. It might be Jolla. You guys know Jolla? Or Holla? I don't know how you pronounce it. Yeah, ex-Nokia. It might be Firefox. It might be someone here, who's got a dream and a basement. And question about this. This is a cheap piece of hardware. This is, I think, retail $50. It's not got the performance of an iPhone, but an iPhone is $500-600. But is this a tenth of the performance? No, it's a lot. I think Mozilla have an interesting mission, and they want to bring the web to everyone. And that doesn't just mean rich people in Europe and America. It means anyone who can scrape together $10 or $15 or maybe even $25. Android is nibbling in that space. There are some very good cheap Android phones. There will never be a $25 Windows phone. I can't ever see Microsoft doing that. iOS don't really like anyone who doesn't have $500 cash buying their phone. It's like, you look a bit too poor to have an iPhone, I'm afraid. So this is the target for what we call the next billion. There's, I don't know how many. There are now more mobile phone connections than there are people, but not all of those are smartphones. Not all of them have a web browser, an IP stack. We need to get the next billion people online, and then the next billion after that. At the moment, Firefox OS is not suitable if you want to build 3D Super Racer awesome game. Angry Birds, yeah, it will play Angry Birds. Web browser, yeah, it will do that, and it will get better and better as the components get cheaper. Why should you target it rather than native? Perhaps you shouldn't. Perhaps your demographics aren't there. But would you rather sell to, I don't know how many iPhones have been sold, a billion iPhones, or 5 billion devices which can run it? I don't know whether Firefox will succeed. I really don't. I hope they do. And I really encourage you to go to the Firefox OS website, which I think is firefox.com/OS. I don't know, use Google. But take a look at it, see how you can help. Because you're not going to improve iPhone. They're not taking any patches. Windows Phone, you're not going to improve. Android, you might get.
I believe 50% of the mobile phones are sold by mobile operators. So once the mobile operators will embrace more and more Firefox, that can be the major trigger.
So Telefonica, as I said earlier, we run operators in the UK, Germany, Latin America, and Spain, a few other countries. We're pushing this. We're pushing this in South America right now, and it seems to be doing well. Because there aren't any other $50 phones which offer this level of functionality. I hope, I don't know, and don't tweet about this or put it in the press, I hope this year or next we start selling. We don't have a debate. We just like each other too much.
What do you think about the qualification of the mobile community? And I mean here from the developments, how to put it, programming experience, because the majority with HTML5 come from web development. And
I mean, in the old days, and maybe you remember these better than me, but you had to go on a course for 10 weeks to learn how to program a computer. I mean, I certainly did it. You know, I went to university and I learned Java for a year before I could write anything. Today, you can get a tutorial on the web and 10 minutes later, you've got an app. Not a very good app, but you've got something. I think it's up to us in the community.
Okay, so I think we have a big issue of developers and programmers in Romania. Everybody who is hiring, it has difficulties, and that's because, as Terence said, even you have now everything you need to go on yourself, very few people are considering that. I know there are some initiatives like Coder Dojo and so on who try to make more popular development. This could really be helpful for us from one side. From the other side, as I mentioned before, I don't think it's enough to learn from some tutorials and to learn some development, unfortunately. I learned programming because I was hired in I think one of the two companies in Romania before '89 who was doing programming, so it was an internal training. The courses in Romania at that time were something very vague, but what I appreciated was the fact that they were not learning how to code, but how to think. And that's the major issue with programmers, and not necessarily programmers, with developers. That's the difference. If you learn how to think in depth, my project, which I also sold, was to build an enterprise resource planning software. I worked about 2.5 years for that, and I do it myself. So because I was helped to understand and to think how to put things. I think that's the biggest challenge. Not necessarily to have more people, but to have more people who understand the roots, the basic, not just the code. And that's same for any business. I graduated finance and accounting. From 200 people, I was among the 10 who knew how to record any transaction as a bookkeeper, because the rest didn't care about. That's it. If you understand the basics, the rest is just routine.
I will say something else that I do. How many people here have got like a younger brother or sister or a cousin who's at school? You all know someone who's at school, yeah? Have you gone and have you taught them how to code? Have you gone into their classroom, into their schoolroom? If not, why not? So I run a code club where we get an after-school club. We get 10 kids and we teach all of us, you know, if you know how to code, you owe it to the next generation to teach them. And whether that means going into a school or running an after-school club or doing it in your local library, find some way to improve, you know, that we want more people, and especially more women, going into computer science and computer engineering. And it's up to you to light that spark beneath them. And it can be by saying, look, I've made this really cool game and I made 500 euros off it. And kids will be like, wow, I want to learn that. That's how you get them. That's how you get, as you say, once you've got them young, once they know how to think, once they understand what code is and what it can do, the possibilities are endless. It's in the UK, we've now made it mandatory for every child up to the age of 16 to learn how to code. I think they have to get one.
First of all, in conclusion to what you said earlier, you have to plant the seed to children and everybody to see if they like developing or something like that. Okay. A question for you. You are presenting Firefox OS. Okay. Don't you think the future success of Firefox OS will be based in a way on the brand, the Firefox brand? Because if you consider like Bada, for me, I think it's a total not success, unsuccess. You consider the fact that Firefox will buy his brand will push this OS further?
So I don't work for Mozilla, so I can't speak to them. But what I'll say is two things. One is Firefox is a well-known brand, just like Chrome is. So this is why Google have Chromebooks. They're trading on the name Chrome, and people know Firefox. However, there's nothing to stop. This is all open source. If you want to make the Coca-Cola phone, and really don't tell anyone it's Firefox OS underneath, you can do. So if you wanted to brand it any way you liked, I think, and you'll have to check the legals here, but you don't have to brand it Firefox if you don't think that that's a good thing. But really, I know this for an absolute fact, you ask people what phone they've got, and they'll say, I've got, well, it used to be you ask them what phone they've got, and they say, I've got an iPhone, or I've got a BlackBerry. And what they meant is, I've got a touchscreen phone, or I've got a phone with keyboard. It didn't matter whether it was BlackBerry or Symbian or something. If it's got a keyboard, it's a BlackBerry. If it's a touchscreen, it's iPhone. So, are the people who buy this, do they know that it's Firefox? Do they care that it's Linux underneath it?
Distribution is the key. If you get all the mobile operators to distribute your operating system, could be named nobody cares. Yeah, believe me. So distribution is the key. Because you have a lot of clients, as Terence said, there are 7 billion connections. We have less than 2 billion smartphones. So if you start to distribute your new smartphone, and we have such cases, I mean, we really don't know exactly what's Vodafone phone behind, because they also have some different, who really cares? But people are buying because it's almost zero and can run apps, some of them having apps, some of them don't have apps but have data plans, so sooner or later they'll start to use it.
I mean, I'm going to let you into a little secret before the next question, and don't tell anyone this. There's only one reason why Windows Phone is succeeding, and that's because mobile operators are pushing it. Mobile operators are scared that Apple and Samsung will become dominant, and that, you know, when it comes to negotiate how much are we going to pay for the Galaxy S6, Samsung are going to say $1 million, because, you know, they're sat there the biggest thing in the room. So operators have a vested interest in having as many different models of phone, different operating systems out there. In an ideal world, we would have 5 strong ones. You know, we'd have these 3 and BlackBerry and Symbian or something, because that way, when Apple turn around and say, so here's the new iPhone, we want you to sell it for €600, the operator can turn around and say, really? Because I can sell the Samsung for 500, and then they can play them off against each other. So the success of Windows, I think, I've used Windows Phone, I like it, I know people who do like it, but it is because it is being pushed by operators, and if they all get behind Firefox or Jolla or whatever, that will also get into a similar share as well. You're quite right. This is a rubbish debate, we just keep agreeing with each other. Someone ask us a controversial question.
So, short introduction. I run a one-man project, and what I'm trying to do is to get involved some other kinds of people into my project, such as designers, I don't know, database administrators, and I'm quite appalled that I can't find there isn't a place to find people with design skills easily, and I'm surprised no one talks about involving kids into design, into, I don't know.
Well, if you do your project to make money, I'm not sure you'll want to involve kids in helping you with the design.
Well,
I will take, I'm not sure I'll take that chance, honestly. Now, as far as I know, there are some efforts to create a Romanian Freelancers Association that will include designers and different type of programmers. But yes, it's hard to find if you don't have connections because it's not such place available here. So you have to ask for them. I believe once that association will be created, that will be something you may use and it will help you.
Can you spell again the name of it?
I don't know what will be the name. It's the Freelancers Association. Asociația Freelancerilor. I know they are working on the project for more than 6 months, and I know because they involve creative people is what I was looking also, designers, because a programmer you can still find, but a good designer it's hard to get.
Thank you.
Okay, so since you've released several apps or made some apps, what strategies have you taken to keep your app in top, like to push your apps in top, beside advertising? And have you been, like, have you thought hard about any methods that, have you tried any methods that work? And to keep your app in top, like top 50, let's say. Maybe I'm more inclined to.
What I found out, it's not very easy to deal with because we had some issues about targeting. We had some issues with traffic also because we were checking the traffic from the logs, and in some cases we get some 20% clicks that will never reach our server, but that server was showing me the reports, so I delivered you that. So that was also available for Google. We have some nice differences with Google. Bottom line, what works as a strategy, if we speak about Romania, is to do some short-term push, because if you do some short-term push, you don't need too many downloads to reach on top 10 here. Honestly, you don't need too many downloads. So that's the easiest approach, to do a 1 week push, not spend a lot of money, and you can be easily on top 20, top 50. And if you have a client who has enough money, as I said, for the financial, they were on the top for about 2.5 months. So because they spend regularly. I didn't try cost per acquisition so far, cost per install, because we didn't find a good deal from the client perspective. He didn't was ready to pay as much as they asked us. I don't know if it's okay, this answer.
Looking at the Romanian top 40 at the moment, number 4 is What's Up by Taxi. This is the music. Although number 7, Pharrell Williams, Happy. That's a good song. But, you know, I'm looking at the rest. Katy Perry. I don't know who half these are. They're all Romanian. But, you know, I don't think who's at number 1, whether it's Justin Bieber or anything else, is necessarily an indication of quality or longevity. You know, just because you've reached into the top 50 once doesn't mean you'll stay there, doesn't mean you'll make money. I'd rather personally have, you know, 10 customers who paid me than 1 million customers who didn't. So sometimes I think we get confused by what success looks like. And it goes back to what you were saying, it's show me the money. You know, if you go to an investor, we have 10 million customers. Oh, brilliant. And how much money are you making? Well, we're losing about 50 million euros a week at the moment. Yeah. Well, maybe Facebook will turn around and give you $1 billion, but you can't rely on that. So try to look at a metric which is good for you rather than one which looks good when you put it on a poster. You know, do you get, like, you go to a store and it's got something really crap in it, but it's got a sticker which says, as seen on TV. Yeah? Oh wow, you know, 30, 40 years ago, seen on TV. Wow, that's a mark of quality. Today, anyone can be seen on TV. You know, if you see something which says top 10 bestseller, it doesn't really mean anything. You want to be top 10 bestseller? Go ahead. Doesn't mean you'll make money. Doesn't mean your app will be any good. Doesn't mean you'll be successful. So try to find a metric which works for you. And just, you know, if you push out €1 million worth of adverts, you'll get loads of users, but will they be good users? Will they be quality users? Will they be the users who will spend money with you? That's what you've got to see.
To add something about the financial app, as Terence said, being the top was the vanity. Behind that, we had the mechanic to activate the people who were downloaded. And our goal was to reach a certain number of people that once they download the app, they also activate and pay a fee. And for us, the success was measured by how much we exceeded that goal.
Okay, actually I'm kind of interesting what's happening behind the hood. So like how the App Store pushes your app to the top. So I mean, I'm more interested in the mechanism, in the algorithms that it uses to kind of push your app to the top. So what I know...
Algorithms?
Yeah, algorithms.
You know, there's no secret to it. You know, this is an open... Well, it's not a secret. It's fact. You want to be top. You know, you need to build up that relationship with your local Apple partner or Windows partner or Android partner. If you want to be top of the charts, sure, okay, maybe you need to sell more than 5,000 in a day or something like that. You'll find those stats on App Annie, and there's another one which Flurry, I think, will roughly tell you how many you need to sell in order to get to a position on the chart. But if you actually want to be promoted, that's not an algorithm, that's relationships.
There are real people with whom you have to initiate a relationship to actually keep your up on top, right? I thought based on like advertising and how popular your app gets in like first week or first month, then I thought under the hood kind of some algorithms pushes it to the top.
Your question is about how the ranking is made?
How the ranking how it's
not necessarily the ranking based on downloads. Ranking when somebody is searching your app to find it as relevance and so on.
No. Actually, you said that you have to make relationships with Apple, for example, to like your app to appear in WhatsApp or
yeah, to be featured. Of course, you need to have such relationship. The point I said is good to reach the top. It's that it generates you some organic downloads, because there are some people, few, as Terence mentioned, not everybody stares at what's new, what's hot, but there are some people that are seeing something new and they say, okay, it's new, I didn't see it, it's on top, let's try it. So it's the only thing that helps you, but other algorithms can about...
So first you advertise it a lot, then you make relationships and kind of, this is how it works, right?
Well, another thing that also is not proved, but it's some common sense, is ratings will help you. Clearly.
Yeah, sure.
If you have bad comments, I give an example. Organizer asked me to install Yammer. I already have a lot of apps on my phone. And when I went to Yammer on Google Play, I saw a lot of bad comments. I say I won't spend my time with that app. So that could help you also, the reviews and the ratings. There are different studies done that show the moment you get more reviews and more ratings, more favorable ratings, that could influence your downloads. But till the end, it's a lot of word of mouth. At my daughter's school, almost all of the apps are downloaded based on some of them says, look, I have this new app, everybody starts downloading. So this is how I found out that, I don't know how it's called, Flappy Bird, okay? I never, but at the school, everybody says, one of them, and so on. So it's a lot of word of mouth, and the only thing that could help you are the reviews and ratings from that perspective, to not let people, once they reach your page, to give up. Also, your page is very important, because what you are promoting, You are promoting a link to your page, and your conversion could be heavily get down if your page is not interesting enough, is not appealing enough for the people to download, especially if you ask them money.
Okay.
I would just add one quick thing, which is do not pay for rankings and do not pay for downloads. You'll find I get an email every week which says we can deliver 10,000 5-star ratings to you for $100. Great, you do that, you'll get the rankings. Google will notice it, Apple will notice it, and that's it. You're banned from the store. Do not go for pay for download or pay for rankings, because it will end in tears, I promise you.
Yeah, but you can pay for likes on Facebook. Fake likes, a lot of Facebook, don't mind.
Sure. So once it's popular, it stays on top automatically, right?
Education in general, investing in students or stuff like that.
The big thing that I see is when I teach kids coding, they all say, and their parents say, we want to learn iPhone programming. And I say, okay, have you got 1,500 euros for a Mac? No. Does your school have MacBooks and iMacs? No. Whereas Android are pushing, I think they've open sourced it now, Google App Inventor. I think that's what it's called, which is a really simple way to start building apps. I think it's browser based, but even if it isn't, they've stopped it now, bastards. But what you
can run up in 2 hours. I did one, get some $10,000.
Yeah. So I think that Android is, because it's more accessible on lower end hardware, schools are a lot more keen on doing that. When we teach app building to older students, we use apps which are HTML5, because schools, you've ever been to a school, you can't install anything on those machines.
I'm not saying the school should invest. I'm saying, for example, Microsoft opened 2 labs in Polytechnica, for example, where you can go and learn stuff.
So the lower the market share, the more they invest. So Windows, you can go on free courses. They will give you, if you release an app, they'll give you free phones. BlackBerry do the same.
Microsoft is really investing because they have to, not necessarily for the mobile side, but for all their products, because.
So you think it's an important issue? Do you think it's an important issue for them, or not so much?
That they invest or that they don't invest?
That they should invest.
Why they should invest? I think, for God's sake, they have only over 1 million apps. They'll get 2 million, 3 million very soon. They get 30% on everything just because they give you access. You have to pay the yearly subscription. You have to buy the hardware. I don't see why they would invest. They will invest in marketing, in nice things like Swift. Yeah, okay, I come with a new toy, let's go. I'm really curious how many bugs we'll find out in iOS 8. I'm not saying it won't be revolutionary or something special, but it's not that the only company that should invest in education, it's our government. Because they get the money for this. But they do some CSR activities, which may include, we donate some MacBooks and so on, that looks nice, but Apple don't have this policy.
For example, I don't like iOS because I don't like the company's mentality. If they will do something like investing in an education, maybe I will consider it more.
I think if you
a marketing thing, after all.
If you had a cookery class at school, which was sponsored by McDonald's, you're only learning how to build cookery. Do you want in schools people saying, and here's how you build a Windows Phone app? It's like, only learning how to use Microsoft Word. It's not necessarily going to set you up right. So this is a rubbish debate. I agree. Yeah, we need the government to say, look, you will learn to code, and maybe it will be one of these to start with, but it needs to be broad, so we're not giving undue prominence to one company. The thing is, all these phones are good. As you asked earlier, the dev tools, they're all good. You can make money on all of them. Some of them do some things better, some do some things worse. Really, it's what they need is to start working on common platforms like HTML5, so we don't have a war. So they can worry about hardware and stuff like that, and we can get on with building really good apps which just run everywhere. And that's what I think.
Thank you.